Hello everybody, my name is Hamp Thomas and I want to tell you just a little bit about myself and about how this class got started. I was a realtor for 10 years, took ABR, GRI, CRS, learned as much as I could, and I really enjoyed being a realtor. Well, during this time there was a local appraiser kept after me, you need to get into the appraisal business, and I always kept saying, well, maybe one day I'll look at it. Had one of those customers like we all get in real estate sometimes. Worked with them for 3 months. Every weekend did everything I could to please them. Found out through the grapevine they bought a FISBO. At that point I thought, well, maybe I'll give this appraisal thing a shot. So anyway, I got into doing appraisals, and as soon as I started working on that full time, I figured out that agents really know very little about appraisers, and appraisers really know next to nothing about the real estate business and what it really takes to get a house under contract. So anyway, the old myth or the saying is true about the grass is always greener. That's alive and well in the real estate business. But I quickly found out that working as an appraiser, that square footage errors were causing low appraisals. I mean, they were causing all kinds of problems, and that the square footage difference between what the realtors were doing and what the appraisers were doing, it was a huge difference, and it was really causing problems. I thought, what a great thing to find out. I'll just tell everybody what I found out. They'll be so excited, they'll change the way they look at square footage, and heck, they might even say, thanks, Hamp, thanks for the information, we'll change everything. Well, it didn't quite work out that way. Back in 2008, I wrote an article in Realtor Magazine titled Size Matters. We got a lot of response to that article, and it was really kind of shocking to see some of the things that we got. A lot of people really don't want anybody to talk about square footage. They would say, you can't talk about this subject, it'll start a panic. People don't understand it, just stay away from it. Do whatever, find a new class, leave square footage alone. And I'd say, well, we live in a price per square foot world. It's just the way agents, appraisers, and the public looks at square footage sometimes. But anyway, it's a subject that has a lot of strong opinions on there. Well, after a while, we started working on the classes. And matter of fact, in the beginning of the classes, I thought, gosh, if I'm going to teach these classes, I'm going to have to come up with a new wardrobe even. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, this is it. This is the wardrobe I had when we started the square footage classes. If you want to get a heated debate started, get in a room full of agents and appraisers and talk about square footage. I mean, it's a subject where people have such strong opinions one way or another. And in the beginning of the classes, I felt like people were going to throw things at me, or tomatoes, or whatever they were going to do, like I was dodging bullets up there. So it was an interesting class in the beginning, and some people would even come to the class thinking that they would change my opinion about square footage and that it just can't be that important. Well, hopefully most of them changed their opinion by the time we got to the end of the class, but there are a lot of times where I really felt like I needed this little helmet up here. But anyway, seriously though, if you take away one thing from this class, please just remember that size matters. I don't know how else to say that, but in every residential transaction, at some point in that transaction, the size or square footage of that house is going to change someone's perception of value. And square footage is important, and it's always going to be. And in 2013, Fannie Mae is coming out with these new underwriting guidelines so that square footage is going to get even more important in the future. But please just remember that the size matters. It affects your peers. It affects your neighbors who are going to refinance a house. It affects your insurance rates. It obviously affects CMAs and appraisals, and it all comes down to one listing agent reporting one square footage total, and every house is equally as important. So anyway, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the class, and let's get started.